The galaxy had seen many wars. Planets had burned before. Empires had risen and fallen across thousands of years. But nothing in galactic history compared to what happened on the day Earth died. It happened in a single moment. Across the galaxy, hundreds of space stations, observatories, and long-range scanners watched a strange signal coming from the human home system. At first, most scientists believed it was just another experiment from humanity. Humans were known for trying bold and sometimes dangerous ideas. But this signal was different. It was powerful, far more powerful than anything humans had created before. Inside the massive chamber of the Galactic Council, representatives from many civilizations sat in silence as the data appeared on a giant holographic screen. The chamber floated in space near the center of the galaxy. It was a place where leaders gathered to keep peace between species. On that day, peace felt very fragile. A bright image of the human homeworld appeared above the council floor. The blue oceans and white clouds of Earth slowly rotated in the hologram. For many species, Earth had been a symbol of hope. Humans had joined the galactic community only a few years earlier. They were new, curious, and full of energy. Some civilizations found them strange. Others found them inspiring. But no one expected what came next. A sharp alarm suddenly echoed through the council chamber. Unknown energy spike detected, a mechanical voice announced. The holographic image zoomed closer to Earth's orbit. Strange lines of energy began forming in space near the planet. The signals were unstable and growing stronger every second. Scientists across the galaxy tried to understand the readings. Some believed it was a natural cosmic event. Others feared it was a weapon. On the council floor, several representatives stood up in alarm. "What is that energy?" one of them demanded. "We are still analyzing," another voice answered nervously. The energy continued to rise. On the screen, the glowing lines twisted together like a storm of light. They circled Earth faster and faster. The brightness grew so strong that some observers had to dim their displays. Then it happened. A single flash. For one brief second, the entire solar system filled with blinding white light. Every scanner, every telescope, every observation satellite recorded the same thing. When the light faded, the planet was gone. The holographic image now showed nothing but broken fragments drifting through space. A cloud of dust slowly spread where Earth had once existed. Silence filled the council chamber. No one spoke. No one moved. The human homeworld had been destroyed in less than a second. Across the galaxy, shock spread quickly. News signals traveled through star systems at incredible speed. Civilizations that had never even met humans suddenly heard the same terrible report. Earth was gone. Billions of lives had disappeared instantly. Many species struggled to believe it. A planet could not simply vanish. Such power was almost impossible to imagine. Back in the council chamber, the leaders finally began to speak again. "This must have been an attack," one representative said quietly. "But from who?" another asked. No one had an answer. The official scientists of the Galactic Council quickly began their investigation. They studied the energy readings again and again. Their final report was shared only a few hours later. According to the Council, the destruction of Earth had been caused by a mysterious, unknown weapon. The weapon did not match any technology known in the galaxy. Whoever used it remained completely invisible. The announcement spread across every communication network. Fear followed. If a weapon powerful enough to destroy an entire planet existed, then no world was safe. But not everyone believed the Council's explanation. Some observers noticed small details in the data. Strange gaps in the official reports. Missing information from the moment just before the explosion. A few independent scientists quietly asked questions. Why had several Council monitoring stations stopped recording seconds before the blast? Why were certain sensor logs suddenly classified? Why did some Council leaders seem nervous when the topic of Earth appeared? Inside the Council chamber, the leaders tried to remain calm. Publicly, they promised to search for the unknown enemy responsible for the attack. Privately, their conversations were very different. Several Council members looked deeply worried. One of them spoke in a low voice. "The galaxy must never learn the truth," he said. Another leader nodded slowly. "Yes," the second voice replied. "Because if they do—" The leader paused and looked toward the empty space where Earth once existed. "The council itself will fall." Far away, near the dark edge of explored space, a small damaged ship drifted silently between the stars. Inside that ship, one human was still alive. And soon, the entire galaxy would hear his message. Rocket. The galaxy was still in shock after the destruction of Earth. News of the disaster had spread to thousands of star systems. Civilizations that had never met humans still felt uneasy about what had happened. If a weapon powerful enough to destroy an entire planet existed, then every world in the galaxy could be in danger. The leaders of the Galactic Council continued repeating the same message. Earth had been destroyed by an unknown enemy weapon. The Council promised they were searching for the one responsible. They said they would protect the galaxy from any future attacks. Many worlds believed them, but not everyone. Far away from the busy trade routes of the galaxy, deep in the cold darkness between stars, a small ship drifted slowly through space. The ship was badly damaged. Large sections of its outer hull were burned and broken. Several lights flickered weakly along its surface. The engines had almost no power left. Yet the ship was still alive. Inside the command room, a single human sat in a worn pilot chair. His name was Alex. Alex looked tired. His clothes were dirty, and his face showed the stress of many sleepless days. The soft glow of damaged control panels lit the room with weak blue light. Outside the main window, nothing could be seen except endless darkness. Alex slowly adjusted a communication console. The small ship had only one working system left, its emergency transmitter. If the signal was strong enough, it might reach the nearest relay station. From there, it could spread across the galaxy. But the damaged transmitter would probably burn out after one message. Alex took a deep breath. He knew this might be the only chance. For a few seconds, he simply stared at the stars. Just days earlier, those stars had shined above his home world. Now his home was gone. The memory of the bright flash still lived inside his mind. The moment Earth disappeared, Alex closed his eyes for a moment, then pressed the broadcast button. The transmitter hummed loudly as it pushed power through its broken circuits. Warning lights flashed across the console. The signal shot into space. Across several nearby systems, communication satellites suddenly detected an unexpected transmission. At first, the signal looked weak and unstable. But the source code clearly showed something surprising. It was a human emergency broadcast. Operators quickly connected the signal to galactic communication networks. Within minutes, the message reached dozens of civilizations. Soon after, it reached the monitoring stations of the Galactic Council. The transmission began with a shaky video image. Alex's tired face appeared on screens across the galaxy. For a moment, he said nothing. Then he spoke slowly in clear, simple words. "My name is Alex," he said. "I am a survivor from Earth." The message instantly caught everyone's attention. Billions of viewers across many planets watched in silence. Alex continued speaking. Earth was not destroyed by an unknown enemy. He paused, letting the words settle. The Galactic Council is lying. Across the galaxy, shock spread once again. Inside the Great Chamber of the Galactic Council, alarms suddenly sounded as communication officers rushed to report the transmission. Council leaders quickly gathered around their central display. Alex's message was already spreading faster than they could stop it. On the screen, the human survivor continued. "I was part of a research crew near Earth's outer orbit when the attack happened," Alex explained. "Our sensors recorded everything." He reached beside the console and activated another data file. A series of star charts and energy readings appeared behind him. "These readings show ships near Earth just before the explosion," Alex said. But these ships did not belong to an enemy fleet. The image zoomed closer to the sensor data. Symbols and markings appeared clearly. They belonged to the Galactic Council. The council chamber fell silent. Several leaders stared at the screen with pale expressions. Outside the chamber, Millions of viewers across the galaxy reacted with confusion and disbelief. The idea that the Galactic Council could destroy a member world was almost impossible to accept. Yet the evidence continued appearing on the broadcast. Alex looked directly at the camera. "They knew the attack was coming," he said quietly. "And they did nothing to stop it." In the council chamber, one nervous leader turned to the others. "We must stop this broadcast immediately," he said. But it was already too late. Communication networks had copied the message and spread it across hundreds of systems. Even if the signal ended now, the recording would continue traveling through the galaxy. Back on the damaged human ship, warning alarms filled the small control room. The transmitter was overheating. Alex knew the system would fail within seconds. He leaned closer to the camera for his final words. "If anyone out there can hear me," he said, "the Council is hiding the truth." He paused, breathing slowly. Earth was not destroyed by an enemy. Alex's eyes hardened with determination. It was destroyed by a lie. The screen suddenly went dark as the transmitter burned out. Across the galaxy, silence returned once again. But this time, something had changed. For the first time in centuries, many civilizations began to question the authority of the Galactic Council. Rocket. The broadcast from Alex spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Within hours, millions of ships, stations, and planets had received the recording. The message of the lone human survivor echoed through communication networks everywhere. The Galactic Council is lying. Those words were now being repeated across many star systems. Some civilizations refused to believe it. For thousands of years, the Galactic Council had been the center of peace and order in the galaxy. It had solved wars, created trade agreements, and helped many young civilizations grow. To accuse the Council of destroying a planet sounded impossible. Yet the evidence in Alex's broadcast raised many questions. Scientists began studying the sensor data he had shown. Some of them noticed something disturbing. The symbols on the ships near Earth did match Council designs. Slowly, doubt began to grow. Across the galaxy, people waited for the Council to respond. Inside the Great Council chamber, the situation was very different. The chamber was quiet, but the silence felt heavy and tense. Large holographic screens floated above the floor, showing recordings of Alex's message again and again. Council leaders stood around the central table, watching the images carefully. None of them looked calm. "This is a disaster," one leader said in a sharp voice. Another leader shook his head slowly. "We should have found that survivor earlier," he replied. A third council member crossed his arms. "The real problem is not the survivor," he said. "The real problem is the truth he is revealing." The room grew even quieter. Everyone in the chamber understood what he meant. After several long seconds, the oldest council member finally spoke. "We must remain calm," he said. "The galaxy still trusts us. One message from a frightened human will not destroy centuries of authority." Another leader looked toward the large holographic map of the galaxy floating above them. "Perhaps," the leader said slowly. "But the message is spreading everywhere. Soon every civilization will be asking questions." The old council member nodded. "Yes," he said. "Which means we must control the story before the truth spreads further." The discussion continued for several minutes. Voices grew louder. Some leaders argued strongly with each other. One group believed they should deny everything and claim the human survivor was confused. Another group believed they should capture Alex before he could send another message. But one council member stood quietly near the edge of the room. His expression was serious. Finally, he spoke. "None of this will work," he said calmly. The other leaders turned toward him. "The human already released enough evidence to create doubt," he continued. "Even if we capture him, the recording will continue spreading." The chamber grew silent again. Everyone knew he was right. One nervous leader finally asked the question no one wanted to say aloud. "What if the galaxy discovers the real reason we destroyed Earth?" No one answered immediately. Slowly, the old council member walked toward the center of the chamber. "For many years," he said, "we have protected the galaxy from dangerous threats." He paused, looking at each leader. And sometimes that protection required difficult decisions. Another council member nodded slowly. Yes, the leader said. Humanity was one of those decisions. Several members looked uncomfortable. Many years earlier, when humans first contacted the galactic community, they had surprised everyone. Humans were creative, curious, and very determined. They built new technology quickly. They explored space with fearless excitement. But what worried the council most was something else. Humans adapted faster than any other known species. Council scientists had studied human development closely. Their simulations predicted something frightening. If humanity continued growing at the same speed, they would become one of the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy within only a few centuries. Some simulations showed humans eventually becoming stronger than the council itself. At the time, many leaders dismissed the idea, but others became afraid. What if the humans decide to rule the galaxy one day? One leader had asked long ago. What if they cannot be controlled? Those fears slowly grew stronger, until one day, a secret decision was made. Back in the present council chamber, the old leader spoke quietly. We believed we were protecting the galaxy, he said. But if the truth becomes public. He looked toward the dark image of Earth's destroyed system. Every civilization will see us as the destroyers of an innocent world. Another leader clenched his fists. We had no choice, he said. Humans would have become unstoppable. The room fell silent once more. Outside the chamber, the galaxy waited for answers. Inside the chamber, the leaders understood something terrifying. The lie that destroyed Earth was now beginning to destroy the Galactic Council itself. Rocket. Long before the destruction of Earth, the scientists of the Galactic Council had been studying humanity. At first, the research was simple. Whenever a new civilization joined the galactic community, the Council always collected information about them. They studied biology, culture, and technology. This helped the Council understand how each species would grow in the future. Humans were supposed to be just another young species entering the stars. But very quickly, the research teams noticed something unusual. Humans learned fast. Faster than almost every known civilization. On a quiet research station orbiting a distant star, several Council scientists had gathered to study the newest human data. Large holographic screens filled the laboratory with numbers, charts, and simulations. One scientist stared at a chart with growing confusion. This cannot be correct, he said quietly. Another scientist moved closer to the screen. What is wrong with the data? She asked. He pointed to a glowing line moving sharply upward. This line shows human technological growth, he explained. Look at the speed. She studied the graph carefully. In only a few decades, human technology had jumped forward again and again. Their ships were improving faster than expected. Their communication systems had become more efficient. Even their energy systems were advancing quickly. This is unusual, she admitted. But that was only the beginning. Another scientist activated a long-term simulation program. The program predicted how civilizations might grow over hundreds of years. The simulation began running. At first, the results looked normal. Humans expanded slowly, building colonies and exploring nearby stars. Then the program continued into the future. And something strange appeared. Within 2 centuries, human technology surpassed several older civilizations. Within 3 centuries, humans became one of the strongest powers in the simulation. Within 5 centuries, the results became alarming. The simulation showed humans spreading across large sections of the galaxy. Their ships became faster. Their weapons became stronger. Their influence grew larger than anyone expected. One scientist stepped back from the screen. That cannot be right, he said nervously. Another scientist reran the program with different starting conditions. The result was the same. Again and again, every simulation reached the same conclusion. Humanity would grow extremely powerful. Eventually, they might become the most powerful civilization in the galaxy. The research team immediately reported their discovery to the leaders of the Galactic Council. Soon after, a secret meeting was called. Inside a private chamber far from the public council hall, several leaders gathered around a small table. The scientists presented their findings carefully. "This is only a prediction," one of the scientists explained. "But the pattern is very strong." A council leader looked at the charts with concern. "You are saying humans could become stronger than the council itself?" The scientist hesitated before answering. "Yes," he said quietly. Another leader leaned forward. "How long would this take?" The scientist pointed at the simulation timeline. "Possibly 2 or 3 centuries," he said. The room became silent. For many civilizations, 2 or 3 centuries was not a long time at all. One council leader crossed his arms. "Humans are still a young species," he said. "Maybe they will slow down as they grow." But another leader shook his head. "Look at their history," he replied. "Humans solve problems quickly. They fight hard when threatened. And they never stop exploring." Another council member spoke carefully. "They also cooperate with each other during crises," he added. "Our reports show that humans often become stronger after disasters." The leaders continued studying the reports. The idea that humans might someday challenge the council made many of them uneasy. One leader finally asked the question that had been forming in everyone's mind. What happens if humanity becomes impossible to control? No one answered immediately. The silence in the room felt heavy. Eventually, the oldest council member spoke slowly. "The council exists to protect peace in the galaxy," he said. He looked at the simulation showing humans spreading across many star systems. "If this prediction becomes reality," he continued, "the balance of power could collapse." Another leader nodded. "Yes," he agreed. "And by the time we realize the danger, it may already be too late." The discussion lasted for many hours. Some leaders believed the simulations were only predictions and should not be feared. Others believed the risk was too great to ignore. In the end, one decision was made. The research about humanity would be kept secret. No other civilization would learn about the simulations. Publicly, humans would continue being welcomed into the galactic community. But privately, the council would watch them very carefully. Because hidden deep inside the council's files was a frightening possibility. One day, humanity might become the strongest force the galaxy had ever seen. And for some members of the Galactic Council, that future was something they were willing to stop at any cost. Rocket. The secret reports about humanity were locked deep inside the archives of the Galactic Council. Only a few leaders had permission to see them. For many years, those reports remained hidden. On the outside, everything looked peaceful. Humans continued exploring space and building friendships with other civilizations. Trade routes between human colonies and alien worlds grew stronger. Human engineers shared new technology. Human explorers helped map unknown star systems. Many civilizations started to admire humans. They were brave, curious, and surprisingly friendly. But inside the Galactic Council, the fear never disappeared. Every year, the secret research teams updated their predictions. And every year, the results looked the same. Humanity was growing faster than expected. Their ships were becoming more advanced. Their colonies were expanding into new star systems. Their scientists were discovering new energy systems and faster engines. Some council leaders began watching the situation very closely. One day, another secret meeting was called. The meeting took place in a small chamber hidden far below the main council hall. Only the highest-ranking leaders were allowed inside. A large holographic map of the galaxy floated in the center of the room. Bright lights marked the locations of different civilizations. Human space was still small compared to the ancient empires around it, but it was growing quickly. One council leader studied the map carefully. "They are expanding faster than predicted," he said quietly. Another leader nodded. "Our latest reports show 3 new human colonies this year," she replied. "Their exploration fleets are also traveling farther than expected." A third leader looked at the old simulation results. "In 2 centuries, they could control hundreds of systems," he said. The room fell silent. Finally, the oldest council member spoke. "For many years, we hoped the predictions were wrong," he said slowly. "But every new report shows the same pattern." Another leader looked troubled. "Humans have done nothing wrong," he said. "They have followed every galactic law." "That is true," another member replied. But the danger is not today. The danger is the future. The leaders continued studying the data. The more they looked, the more worried they became. Humans were creative in ways most species were not. When they faced a problem, they found new solutions quickly. They also worked together during crises. Several council members remembered reading reports about Earth's history. Humans had survived wars, disasters, and difficult times. Yet after every crisis, their civilization had become stronger. One council leader spoke with concern. If humans ever see the council as an enemy, he said, they will not give up easily. Another leader nodded. They fight harder than most species, he said. The discussion continued for hours. Some leaders still believed humanity should be trusted. They argued that the predictions might never become real, but others were not willing to take that risk. One member finally spoke the words no one wanted to hear. We may have to remove the threat before it grows. The room became completely silent. Everyone understood what he meant. Destroying an entire civilization was a terrible idea. It had never been done by the Council before. The Galactic Council existed to keep peace, not to destroy worlds. One leader shook his head. We cannot do that, he said. Billions of lives would be lost. But another member responded coldly. And if we do nothing, he asked, what happens when humans become powerful enough to control the galaxy? No one answered. The fear in the room continued growing. Eventually, the oldest council leader stood up. His voice was calm, but serious. The council must think about the survival of the entire galaxy, he said. He looked around the chamber. If the predictions are correct, humanity may one day become unstoppable. Another leader asked quietly, what are you suggesting? The old leader activated a hidden star map. It showed the location of Earth. The human homeworld is the center of their civilization, he explained. If Earth disappears, their expansion will collapse. Several members looked shocked. You mean destroy their planet? One leader whispered. The old member nodded slowly. It would happen quickly, he said. One powerful strike. The galaxy would believe it was an unknown enemy weapon. Another council member asked nervously, and the truth? The truth, the old leader replied, would remain inside this room. Silence filled the chamber. Each leader understood the terrible choice in front of them. Finally, one by one, several members slowly agreed. They believed they were protecting the galaxy. But the decision they made that day would change galactic history forever. Because that secret vote led directly to the moment when Earth vanished in a single flash of light. And the lie they created to hide the crime was now beginning to break apart. Rocket. The galaxy had not known silence like this for a very long time. Every major communication network was busy replaying the same message again and again. The broadcast from the human survivor. His name was Alex. His words had shaken the entire galaxy. He had claimed that the Galactic Council was hiding the truth about the destruction of Earth. At first, many civilizations refused to believe him. The Council had kept peace in the galaxy for centuries. It had ended wars and created alliances between species that once hated each other. But Alex had shown something powerful. Evidence. The sensor recordings from his damaged ship showed ships near Earth just before the explosion. And the markings on those ships clearly matched the design used by the Galactic Council fleets. Scientists across many star systems began studying the data carefully. Some of them hoped to prove the human survivor was mistaken. But the more they studied the recordings, the more uncomfortable they became. The ships in the data looked very real. And they looked exactly like council vessels. Meanwhile, far away in deep space, Alex sat inside his damaged ship. The small vessel drifted slowly through the darkness between stars. Its engines were still broken and the power systems were weak. The emergency transmitter had burned out after his first broadcast. But Alex was not finished yet. Inside the ship's control room, several small lights blinked slowly on the remaining consoles. Alex had spent the last 2 days repairing another communication system. It was not as powerful as the emergency transmitter, but it might still reach a nearby signal relay. Alex wiped sweat from his face and checked the connection one more time. The system was unstable, but it might work. He knew the galaxy needed to hear more. Back in the central station of the Galactic Council, the leaders were already dealing with the growing crisis. Inside the council chamber, voices echoed across the massive room. "This situation is getting worse," one council leader said sharply. Another member looked at the large holographic display showing communication reports. "More than 200 civilizations have already requested an official explanation," she said. A third leader looked frustrated. "We already gave them an explanation," he replied. "Earth was destroyed by an unknown weapon." "But they are not satisfied anymore," another leader answered. The chamber grew tense. For the first time in centuries, the authority of the Galactic Council was being questioned across the galaxy. Then a communication officer rushed into the chamber. "Emergency report," the officer said loudly. All the council members turned toward him. "What is it?" one leader demanded. The officer looked nervous. "The human survivor is broadcasting again." The chamber fell silent. Across the galaxy, communication stations suddenly detected a weak signal. It was unstable and filled with static. But the source was clear. It came from the same human ship. The video image appeared slowly on thousands of screens. Alex looked even more tired than before. His ship's lights flickered around him as the signal struggled to stay connected. "My name is Alex," he said again. "I am still alive." His voice sounded calm, but determined. "I know the Council says Earth was destroyed by an unknown enemy," he continued. "But that is not true." Alex activated another data file. Behind him, several new sensor recordings appeared. "These are additional scans from my ship," he explained. "They show the energy weapon charging before the attack." The data zoomed closer. A massive energy buildup appeared near Earth's orbit. But something else appeared in the recording. Several ships forming a large circle around the planet. "The energy weapon did not come from outside the system," Alex said slowly. "It came from ships already there." The symbols on those ships became clear. They were council ships. Across the galaxy, viewers stared at the screens in disbelief. Alex looked directly at the camera. "The council knew exactly what was going to happen," he said. "They were there when the weapon activated." Back in the council chamber, several leaders looked furious. "Cut that signal," one of them shouted. Technicians tried to block the transmission, but the message had already spread through multiple relay networks. Alex continued speaking. "If the council tells you they were trying to stop the attack," he said, "then ask them one question." He paused for a moment. "Why did their ships form a circle around Earth before the explosion?" The galaxy fell silent again. The pattern in the recording looked like a planned operation, not a defense. Alex leaned closer to the camera. "They were not protecting Earth," he said quietly. "They were preparing the strike." The transmission began breaking apart as the damaged system lost power. Before the screen went dark, Alex spoke one final warning. "The truth is still hidden inside the Galactic Council." Then the signal vanished. Across the galaxy, fear and suspicion spread quickly. For the first time, many civilizations began to wonder if the Council had truly destroyed Earth themselves. And if that was true, then the most powerful government in the galaxy had just committed the greatest crime in history. Rocket. The galaxy was no longer calm. After the second broadcast from Alex, doubt about the Galactic Council had grown stronger than ever. Civilizations that once trusted the Council completely were now asking difficult questions. Why were Council ships near Earth before the planet exploded? Why did the Council's official reports not mention those ships? And most importantly, what was the Council hiding? Across many star systems, scientists and investigators continued studying Alex's data. The recordings were copied and shared through countless communication networks. Even worlds far away from human space were now talking about the same thing, the destruction of Earth. But while the galaxy argued about the truth, something unexpected was discovered. Far beyond the busy regions of known space, an exploration vessel from a small research civilization was mapping an uncharted sector. The ship moved slowly between quiet stars, scanning planets and collecting navigation data. This was normal work for explorers. Most days were calm and uneventful. But on that day, the scanners detected something unusual. "Captain, "We are picking up an old signal beacon," one of the crew members said. The captain turned toward the display. "A beacon?" he asked. "Yes," the officer replied. "But it is very old." The captain moved closer to the screen. The signal code appeared as a series of blinking lights and numbers. Then the computer finished decoding the message. The officer looked surprised. "This is strange," he said. "What is it?" the captain asked. The officer turned toward him slowly. "It's a human signal." The captain froze for a moment. A human signal should not exist out here. Human territory had been near their home system, and their home world, Earth, was gone. "Show me the location," the captain ordered. The star map zoomed in. The signal came from a deep space beacon placed near a distant star system. After a few seconds, the ship's computer opened the message stored inside the beacon. The recording appeared on the main screen. A human face looked directly at the camera. "My name is Captain Daniel," the recording began. "This message is for any human ship that might find this beacon." The exploration crew watched silently. "This beacon marks the route of the human deep exploration fleet," the human captain continued. "Our mission is to travel beyond the known regions of the galaxy and search for new systems." The alien crew members looked at each other with surprise. "A human exploration fleet?" The recording continued. "If you are seeing this message, then you are following our path," the captain said. "We left human space 3 years ago." The message ended shortly after. The alien explorers stared at the screen in shock. If this message was correct, then something incredible was true. Some humans had left their home system long before Earth was destroyed, which meant humanity might not be completely gone. The captain quickly ordered the data to be sent across the Galactic communication network. Within hours, the information reached many different civilizations. Soon after, it reached the monitoring stations of the Galactic Council. Inside the council chamber, the leaders received the report with growing concern. One council member read the message twice. "This cannot be correct," he said. Another leader looked worried. "The beacon is real," she replied, "and the message is confirmed to be human." A third leader stared at the star map, showing the route of the exploration fleet. "How many ships were in that fleet?" he asked. The answer appeared on the screen. 20 exploration vessels, each one carrying hundreds of human crew members. The chamber fell silent. One leader spoke slowly. "That means thousands of humans are still alive." Another council member clenched his fists. "If they hear Alex's broadcasts," he said, "they will learn the truth." The oldest leader looked very serious. "And if they return," he said quietly. He did not finish the sentence. Everyone in the room already understood the danger. Far away in the darkness between distant stars, the human exploration fleet continued its long journey. They had no idea what had happened to their home world. They did not know that Earth had been destroyed. And they certainly did not know that the galaxy believed humanity was extinct. But very soon that would change. Because the next message traveling across the stars was already heading toward them. A message from Alex. A message carrying the terrible truth. And when the lost human fleet finally heard it, the galaxy would discover something the Galactic Council had feared from the very beginning. Humanity was not gone. Humanity was coming back. Rocket. The galaxy was no longer calm. After Alex's broadcasts and the discovery of the lost human fleet, whispers about the truth had grown into full-blown arguments. Across countless star systems, civilizations that had trusted the Galactic Council for centuries began questioning everything. The Council had always claimed to be the protector of peace. Now, billions of eyes were on them, wondering if that peace had been built on lies. On many worlds, scholars and leaders replayed Alex's transmissions repeatedly. The video showed the sensor readings of Council ships near Earth just before its destruction. The symbols on the ships were clear. There was no mistake. They belonged to the Council. Many species had never even met humans, yet they felt shock and fear. If the Council could destroy an innocent planet, who was safe? Meanwhile, inside the Galactic Council's massive chamber, the tension had reached a breaking point. Alarms rang across the hall as messages poured in from countless systems demanding explanations. Holographic screens displayed protests, questions, and angry broadcasts from leaders of many species. One council member slammed his hand on the table. "We must respond now," he shouted. "The galaxy is turning against us." Another leader shook his head, her face pale. "Respond? With what? The truth? If we admit it, we destroy the council forever. If we lie again, the galaxy will never believe us." A third leader, an older figure with a calm voice, raised his hand. "The problem is simple," he said. "They already know something is wrong." Alex's message exposed the cracks. Denial will only make it worse. We must control the narrative, or it will spiral out of control. A young officer ran in holding a data tablet. "Sir," he said nervously, "more systems are reporting sightings of the lost human fleet. We have no idea how many ships are still alive or how far they've traveled, but they are moving steadily toward council space." The leaders exchanged worried glances. "If they hear Alex's recordings," one said quietly, "they will know the truth." And if they know the truth, his voice trailed off. Everyone in the room understood the threat without it being spoken. Across the galaxy, ordinary citizens began to talk. Markets on distant planets buzzed with conversation about the Council's betrayal. Scholars wrote papers questioning the Council's decisions. Even some minor leaders began sending private inquiries, pressing for answers. Fear and doubt spread faster than any fleet or signal could. Some species that had once seen humans as small, weak newcomers now began to hope. If humans had survived Earth's destruction, perhaps they would return stronger. Perhaps they would seek justice. These thoughts spread quietly, but they were growing. Meanwhile, in the deep reaches of space, Alex's damaged ship drifted closer to known space. He had repaired a small engine system to keep moving, but the journey was slow. Every day, he sent small, encrypted messages toward the lost human fleet. The messages were short, simple, and urgent. "Earth is gone. The Council lied. Prepare for what comes next." Those messages eventually reached the explorers who had found the beacon. Slowly, the surviving humans began piecing together the truth. They realized their home was gone, not by accident, but by deliberate design. They realized the Council, the most powerful organization in the galaxy, had betrayed them. As the lost human fleet slowly understood the scope of the truth, doubts about the Council's authority spread even wider. Civilizations that had once depended on Council protection started preparing for change. Councils and alliances began to discuss new leadership, new agreements, and new ways to protect themselves. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, the leaders argued late into the galactic night. Voices grew louder. Some called for capturing Alex and destroying the remaining fleet. Others argued that the Council had gone too far and could not survive another lie. The oldest council member stood quietly, his gaze fixed on the holographic display of Earth's destroyed system. "We made a decision long ago," he said softly, "to protect the galaxy from a future we feared. But now," he looked at the other leaders, "our decision is coming back to destroy us instead." Outside, across hundreds of worlds, the citizens watched the debate unfold indirectly through reports and broadcasts. The seeds of distrust had taken root. The Council's control, once absolute, was slipping like sand through fingers. And somewhere in the darkness, the lost human fleet continued its slow journey home. They were small in number compared to the Council's vast forces, but their spirit had survived. And as doubts about the Council grew across the galaxy, hope for humanity began to grow as well. The galaxy was on the edge of a new era. A single truth had started it all, and nothing, not even the power of the Council, could stop it now. Far beyond the bright lights of known space, the lost human fleet slowly moved forward. They had left their home system years before Earth's destruction. For a long time, they had believed they were explorers, charting new worlds and seeking knowledge. But now, everything had changed. Alex's messages had reached them. He told them the terrible truth. Earth was gone, destroyed not by an unknown enemy, but by the very organization they had once trusted, the Galactic Council. Every human who heard the broadcasts felt a mix of grief and anger. They remembered their home, The oceans, the cities, the forests, all gone in an instant. And now they knew the Council had lied to the galaxy about it. For the first time, the humans understood the weight of their survival. They were not just explorers anymore. They were witnesses. And in their hands rested the knowledge that could shake the galaxy. The fleet's leaders held a council aboard the largest vessel, a long-range command ship equipped for deep space navigation. Hundreds of human crew members crowded the central room. Every face was serious, but their determination was clear. Alex stood at the center, his voice calm but firm. We cannot go back the same way we left. Our mission now is not exploration. It is justice. The Council must answer for what they did to Earth. One of the commanders, a tall figure named Mark, spoke. We have no fleet capable of fighting the Council. Their power is immense. How do we even begin? Alex shook his head. We are not going to fight them with weapons yet. We are going to return with the truth. Every recording, every message, every piece of evidence we can share. The galaxy must know who destroyed Earth. The humans listened carefully. Their strategy was clear. They would not attack immediately. They would first make the Council's crime known across all civilizations. Once the galaxy understood, the balance of power would shift. Slowly, the fleet adjusted its course. Stars and planets glided past the observation windows, but no one spoke. Their thoughts were with the home they had lost. Earth had been their anchor, their beginning. Now it was gone, but the human spirit remained. Meanwhile, the Council could not ignore the rising tide of doubt. Across hundreds of star systems, alien leaders demanded answers. They questioned the Council's authority for the first time in centuries. The memory of Alex's broadcasts lingered, spreading faster than any Council statement could contain. Inside the Council chamber, leaders argued desperately. Some wanted to capture the humans before they reached known space. Others feared that if the fleet survived, every species would know the truth. But every plan came with risks. The humans were small in number, but their intelligence and resilience were already legendary. Far from the Council's reach, the human fleet approached the outer edges of explored space. Scouts reported that Council patrols were monitoring the borders, but the humans moved carefully, avoiding unnecessary attention. Alex's messages had prepared them for this. They had learned how the Council worked, how it communicated, and how it hid its secrets. As the fleet crossed into systems closer to the heart of the galaxy, their confidence grew. Humans had survived countless dangers before. They had adapted to new worlds, faced hostile conditions, and learned from every challenge. Now, with Earth gone, they understood that their greatest challenge was ahead, proving to the galaxy that the Council could not be trusted. During quiet moments aboard the command ship, humans shared memories of Earth. They spoke of forests, oceans, cities, and the laughter of friends and families. These stories were not just memories, they were fuel for their determination. Each story strengthened their resolve. Every human understood that their survival meant more than just life. It meant the chance to ensure justice. The fleet moved steadily, slowly closing in on known Council space. Their presence was still small and almost invisible, but their impact would be immense. When the galaxies saw the survivors of Earth, it would realize that the humans were not victims to be mourned. They were a force that could not be ignored. For the first time since Earth's destruction, hope returned to the human survivors. They were not just a scattered fleet anymore. They were the legacy of a planet that had been stolen from them. And the galaxy would soon learn that humanity, even after losing everything, had not been defeated. The humans were returning, and when they arrived, the Council would discover that the truth was more powerful than any weapon. The galaxy waited in uneasy silence. After Alex's messages and the discovery of the lost human fleet, doubt had spread like wildfire. Civilizations everywhere questioned the words and authority of the Galactic Council. The Council had ruled the stars for centuries, and now its power was threatened, not by fleets or weapons, but by a single truth. Alex had survived Earth's destruction. He had sent recordings proving that the Council had not only failed to protect Earth, but had been present when the energy weapon struck. His evidence was clear: undeniable and terrifying. The council could no longer hide. For weeks, Alex had moved carefully through uncharted systems, broadcasting fragments of data, building networks of listening stations, and connecting with any civilization willing to help. Each small broadcast reached farther and farther, awakening suspicion across the galaxy. Finally, Alex reached a neutral world, a massive station orbiting a quiet star. Here, he could safely release everything. The world's council was known for neutrality and respect for truth. Civilizations from all corners of the galaxy sent their representatives to observe. Inside the main hall, hundreds of delegates waited. Holographic screens floated in the air, showing millions of transmissions from distant systems. Alex stood at the center, flanked by a small human crew. His eyes were tired but resolute. "My name is Alex," he began. His voice was calm but firm. "I am a survivor from Earth. Today, the galaxy will learn the truth about its destruction." He activated the first holographic screen. Sensor recordings from Earth's orbit appeared, showing council ships surrounding the planet before the energy weapon activated. Every mark, every symbol, every movement matched council designs. The room fell silent. Even the alien delegates, many of whom had never interacted with humans, were visibly shaken. "These ships were not defending Earth," Alex said. "They were part of the operation that destroyed it." The council lied. They blamed an unknown enemy. But there was no enemy, only a decision made in secret, hidden from the galaxy. Another screen appeared. It showed communications from the council archives, edited and redacted, all pointing to the deliberate manipulation of information. Energy readings, fleet logs, and strategic maps proved that Earth's destruction had been planned. Alex paused and looked at the delegates. For centuries, the Council has controlled the galaxy with authority. They claimed to protect civilizations. But the truth is different. They destroyed a planet because they feared its people's future. Gasps and murmurs filled the hall. Many had believed the Council was infallible. Now that belief was shattered. "Humans are gone," they said, Alex continued. "But they were wrong. Some of us survived. Some of us traveled to distant stars, lost and alone. And now, we bring the truth to the galaxy." Holographic maps appeared, showing the route of the lost human fleet. It marked every system they had visited, every beacon they had left behind, every warning they had sent. The delegates leaned closer, some exchanging worried glances. The recordings proved more than just the Council's lie. They revealed the Council's secret fear, humanity's potential. Alex's voice grew stronger. "We do not come for revenge. We come to ensure the galaxy knows the truth. We come to prevent the same lie from ever being repeated. Earth is gone, but our message will survive. Humanity will survive. And the galaxy will know who betrayed them." Across the galaxy, millions of devices and communication hubs received the broadcasts. Every civilization, from the smallest mining station to the largest empire, now had the evidence in hand. The Council's authority, once absolute, began to crumble. Inside the council chambers, leaders watched in horror as the transmissions spread. Their carefully constructed lies could not withstand the truth. Every plan to control the narrative had failed. The galaxy had learned what they had tried to hide. One council member whispered, "It is over." Another shook his head. "The galaxy will never trust us again." Alex lowered his gaze and finished with quiet determination. "Earth is gone, but humans are not. And the truth is stronger than any weapon the Council ever built." In that moment, the galaxy began to change. Doubt had become clarity, fear had become resolve, and a single truth had shifted the balance of power. For the first time, the Council faced the reality that the most dangerous force in the galaxy was not a weapon or an army, it was humanity itself. And humanity was coming back. The galaxy was no longer quiet. After Alex revealed the full truth about Earth, doubt and anger had spread like wildfire. Across hundreds of star systems, civilizations questioned the authority of the Galactic Council. Leaders who once trusted the Council now demanded accountability. Alliances wavered. Trade agreements were delayed. The Council's power was crumbling. Meanwhile, the lost human fleet moved steadily toward Council space. Months had passed since the humans first received Alex's broadcasts. They had mourned their home and trained their minds for the challenge ahead. Unlike the Council, they had no massive armies or countless fleets, but they had something far stronger: determination, courage, and the truth on their side. Aboard the command ship, Alex addressed the surviving humans. His eyes scanned the room, filled with hundreds of determined faces. "We are not here to destroy anyone," he said firmly. "We are here to demand justice. The Council lied about Earth. They destroyed our home. And now, every species in the galaxy must see what they have done." A murmur of agreement passed through the crew. Many had spent years drifting through space, wondering if humanity's legacy would survive. Now they understood their purpose. The fleet approached the outer edge of Council-controlled space. Scouts reported the positions of patrols and monitoring satellites. Every step was calculated. Humans moved cautiously, knowing the Council would notice their presence eventually. Inside the Council chambers, leaders had already prepared for the human return. Some wanted to destroy the fleet before it reached central systems. Others argued for negotiation. Yet all of them understood a painful truth: the humans were coming, and the galaxy already knew the Council's secret. One senior leader spoke, his voice trembling. "If the humans arrive with the proof, the entire Council will fall. Every lie we've told will be exposed. Every decision we've hidden will be questioned." Another leader shook his head. "We cannot stop the fleet. They're small, yes, but their message has already spread. The galaxy will support them. And if they enter Council space, every species will demand answers." Outside the Council chambers, the galaxy watched. Civilizations that had once relied on the Council now prepared for change. Military fleets were recalled, trade routes rearranged, and alliances strengthened. Everyone was waiting for the humans to arrive, uncertain what the next step would bring. The lost human fleet continued moving. Their ships were smaller and fewer than the Council's massive armadas, but they carried hundreds of determined souls. Every crew member understood the stakes. This was not a war of weapons, it was a war of truth, justice, and courage. Alex activated the fleet's communication network, broadcasting a simple message to all nearby civilizations: "We are returning. We bring the truth. The Council destroyed Earth, and it must answer." Across the galaxy, alien leaders studied the message. Many sent envoys to observe the humans. Some sent fleets to ensure peace. Others quietly prepared to join humanity's cause. It became clear: the humans were no longer alone. Inside the Council chambers, tension reached a breaking point. Some leaders argued for immediate aggression against the fleet. Others warned that attacking humans now would turn the galaxy completely against them. A Council elder finally spoke. "We cannot fight the humans directly. They are small, yes, but the truth is on their side. Every species now knows it. If we attack, we will lose the support of the galaxy." Another leader added grimly, "If we do nothing, they will enter Council space and demand a trial. And the galaxy will support them. The Council's authority will crumble." The room fell silent. Every leader understood the same thing: the reckoning had begun. The humans crossed the first boundary of Council space. Scouts reported that no aggression was taken against them. Slowly, other species began sending signals, offering support or protection. The galaxy itself seemed to be guiding humanity forward. Aboard the command ship, Alex looked out at the stars. Earth was gone, but the fleet carried its memory. Every system they passed reminded them of what they had lost and why they must act with integrity. They did not seek revenge, they sought justice. The humans moved steadily toward the Council's central systems. Along the way, they were joined by smaller fleets from alien civilizations that no longer trusted the Council. Their numbers were growing, not because of war, but because truth and justice were compelling forces in the galaxy. When the fleet finally reached the inner sectors, the Council knew their time had come. The humans were no longer distant survivors. They were a force the galaxy would listen to, a symbol of resilience, and a warning to all who lied and betrayed. The stage was set for a historic moment. The Council could no longer hide behind its power. The galaxy had awakened, and humanity, even after losing everything, was ready to lead the reckoning. The Age of Reckoning had begun. The galaxy held its breath. After years of lies, betrayal, and fear, the humans had returned. The Lost Fleet moved steadily into the heart of Galactic Council space, carrying the memory of their homeworld, Earth, and the truth that had shattered centuries of authority. Aboard the command ship, Alex watched the stars ahead. Every system they passed was a reminder of what they had lost and what they were fighting for. This was not a war of conquest. This was a mission to restore justice. Hundreds of humans and allied species prepared to face the Council, but their purpose was clear. Truth must triumph. Inside the Council chambers, panic reigned. The leaders had tried to control the narrative, but it was too late. Evidence of Earth's destruction, Alex's broadcasts, and the discovery of the Lost Fleet had spread across the galaxy. The Council's credibility had collapsed. One elder leader spoke, his voice shaking. They are coming, and the galaxy will side with them. We cannot hide. We cannot fight this truth. Another council member added grimly, our fleet cannot stop them. Even if we fire, civilizations across the galaxy will see us as murderers, not protectors. The humans, moving with precision, had no intention to attack. Their fleet spread out, using advanced sensor networks to broadcast their position. Every planet, every station, every fleet in the sector received the same message. The Council destroyed Earth. The galaxy must know the truth. Slowly, the Council realized they had no allies left. Many civilizations had already begun blocking supply routes, refusing orders, or demanding that the Council answer for its crimes. The very system they had built to enforce control now isolated them. Alex sent a final transmission to the Council, projected across every system and every fleet. His voice was calm but firm. The Council lied. Earth was destroyed not by an enemy, but by those who were trusted to protect the galaxy. Every civilization now knows the truth. You can no longer hide behind your power. Inside the Council chamber, silence followed. The leaders could no longer speak. They had lost authority, credibility, and the trust of every civilization they had ruled. A few leaders tried to plead for mercy. Others demanded the humans stop. But the galaxy itself seemed to side with humanity. Their fleet had grown with allies from countless systems. Entire sectors refused to obey the Council. The humans did not need to fire a single shot. The truth was enough. Finally, the Council held an emergency vote. The decision was unanimous. The guilty leaders were removed from power. Some were arrested. Others were stripped of titles and influence. The Council would survive as an institution, but its authority had been forever changed. The humans did not seek revenge. They allowed justice to follow the galaxy's laws. They presented evidence, witnesses, and records of every secret decision made against Earth. The trials were broadcast across space, and the galaxy learned everything. After the trials, Alex addressed the galaxy. Earth may be gone, he said, but humanity is alive. We have survived, and we will ensure the galaxy remembers what happened here. No lie, no betrayal can erase a civilization's spirit. Across countless worlds, civilizations celebrated the courage of the humans. For many, the survivors were symbols of resilience, honesty, and hope. The lost human fleet became ambassadors, bringing knowledge, culture, and cooperation wherever they went. Alex's fleet slowly returned to explore, rebuild, and reconnect with the galaxy. They shared technology, helped recover lost worlds, and taught lessons about vigilance, justice, and truth. Humanity had been nearly destroyed, but it had emerged stronger, wiser, and united. The Council itself changed. Its power was no longer absolute. Its decisions were now transparent, and every species could observe and question its actions. A system that had once ruled through fear now had to earn trust through honesty. In time, humans spread across the stars once more, but this time with allies and friends. They remembered Earth, not just as a home that was lost, but as a symbol of courage, perseverance, and the importance of truth. And as Alex looked out at the stars from the command ship, he knew one thing. Humanity had survived the greatest betrayal the galaxy had ever seen, and their legacy would echo through the cosmos for centuries to come. The galaxy had learned a lesson. No lie could survive forever, and even in the face of destruction, hope, truth, and courage could change everything. Humanity had returned, and this time, the galaxy would never forget.